I'm sorry, I really don't know much more than this. The only thing I know about his work is what I wrote for his press releases. And what did you write for his press releases? I know that he kept copies of all his research, but I'm afraid I wouldn't know where to look. Ah, okay, so I can ask you about it now. Cool. I found these papers lying around. They're about some other companies, I think. What are they exactly? Could you sound more dodgy if you tried? It's truth. Those are from some of his ledgers from one of the smaller companies. Alright, so space doesn't appear to be working anymore to skip text. Wonderful. You'll just have to deal with the mouse. I didn't know he owned other companies. Well, he's bought most of them under various names or through organisations that he heads. Meaning his ownership of these companies is not really evident. So he owns them in secret? Yes. This is common business practice. Loads of people own little companies like this in secret, just in case. Why? Many of these companies are financial institutions. His ownership of them could be seen as conflict of interest with his business decisions at Autumn Engineering. But it makes complete sense. I mean, Google do it, Yahoo do it, everyone does it, Microsoft do it. Whatever, let's move and let's leave. If we go and see Kevin, you gonna say anything? So, about your family's death. So, who died? It's gonna be a pleasant conversation. Kevin's face is darkens and he tugs on his hair nervously. Yeah, that. There's nothing to feel bad about. You think so? Because I think there's plenty to feel bad about. He glares at me. My parents took out a loan so I could go to a good college, yeah? Everything looks okay until my last year, when the company suddenly changes their policy. Minimum payment shoots up and the interest rate goes through the roof. They can't do that. Sure they can. It was in the contract, printed all tiny and in legal junk. He rolls his eyes. My parents are too trusting, but they wouldn't have gone into this situation if it wasn't for me. And if I had been there, maybe I could have just read the contract myself and seen something. He looks like he wants to say more, but instead he merely gazes at the ground. So yeah, I feel pretty bad about it, but what can I do, you know? So, right. Does he have any sort of blackmail debt, essentially? Or does that just sounds like financial debt? Alright, well he hasn't noticed, you know, shit gone missing quite as of yet, so that can only be a good thing. I'm gonna go down here and see if there's anything. No, there's nothing. Gotta make sure about these things. Gotta make sure. Oh. Okay, I've triggered something. I pace back and forth in the hallway slowly, attempting to piece together the puzzle. I feel like I'm close to something, but I can't just put my finger on it until... Oh, fuck. My thoughts are interrupted by the sounds of the sirens. Looks like the police are finally here. All this investigation, I still haven't figured out who the killer is. Oh well, I guess I should really leave it to the professionals. My part in this case is over. Just like that? Just like that, it's over. Hell no. Hell no. We're going to go back and fucking doing this again. Hang on a second. Right then, so I've gone back and done some different stuff this time. When it says, did anyone buy some cognac for Mr. Orton recently? And I said, well, lol, it's irrelevant. You don't have to worry about it too much, right? Ha, ha, ha. I was wrong. What I should have put when she asks, that's an odd question, is, we think it's related to the murder. And she should say something different this time. Are you sure? Yeah, see? Different. I like different. Surprise registers on Sophia's face for a brief moment. Well, you don't think his cognac was poisoned, do you? Well, yeah, what? Well, it certainly looks that way. The symptoms are all consistent. That is definitely happened, though. The pale skin, the sweating. If he were poisoned, what kind of poison are we talking about? It's the one that makes you die. That one. What do you mean? Sophia paces back and forth on the floor, speaking rapidly under her breath. Why didn't I remember until now? She berates herself. Oh god, is it poison within the house? Because depending on where it is, that kind of rules out Marissa, considering we know where she's been all game. Sophia spins around to face me again. This poison we're talking about, is it a sort of clear, oily liquid? I don't know. Don't tell me it's rat poison. Sophia, do you know what it is? Of course it's not rat poison. God, Tenarium. Rat poison is solid, not liquid. She hurries to the cupboard and pulls out a white linen napkin. I just hope it's still there. She pulls out a plastic bin from underneath the sink. The recycling logo is painted on the side. With the napkin wrapped around her hand, she picks carefully through the pile of bottles and cans until she finds what she's looking for. Here. She holds up a simple plastic water bottle. It's empty save for a few drops of water sloshing around the bottom. What is it? I found this in the incinerator yesterday. We burn our garbage daily. I pulled it out because it belongs in the recycling. When I picked it up, I got some of the contents on my hands. It's not water, the texture is more like oil. But what makes you think it's the poison? Did it burn through your hands? Because I felt ill all yesterday after I touched it, the same exact symptoms you spoke of. What if it's the poison? What if the killer tried to throw it away? Alright, so if it was there yesterday, it's definitely not Marissa. Damn. Well, that rules that one out. I don't know who it is now. I kind of wanted it to be her. Oh, but it's just a water bottle you happened to find. You may have been sick for some other reason. No one in the house puts recycling in the incinerator. Mr. Orton has very strict rules and we've always followed them. This is the only time I've seen something out of place. Please, just look at it. I take the rat bottle from her, being careful not to touch the plastic. It looks innocent enough, but if she's right, there's only one person who could have poisoned Mr. Orton. Let's take this detective. Who's the one person who could have poisoned him? The guy who has access to all the security cameras. And if it's not that, then it's Liam? But Liam would not... It'd be a little bit too risky. If it's not Kevin, I'll be surprised. Sophia nods in agreement. The two of us hurry down the hall into the main lobby where we find Detective Gursky and Aki talking with each other. Well, you two look like you're in a hurry. Yeah, I think we just have a key piece of evidence. Don't get too cocky. I hold out the bottle to Detective Gursky and Aki to see. What is it? It's the poison. Or what's left of it, at least. It'll be easier if I just explain to you who did it. Fair enough, so who did it? Alright, well, it wasn't poison. We know that much, plus he doesn't come out of his room in order to put the rubbish there. Marissa wasn't here yesterday, so it'd be awfully odd if it was her. Sophia wouldn't have given it to me in the first place, which only leaves Liam and Kevin. And then... Liam's response was slightly odd. Maybe two people working together? Come on, hit me up with a comment with who you think did it. And now... we're going to go, no cheating, no waiting 5 minutes, and seeing who did it and then being like, ah ha ha, I knew all along. Alright, I'm going to say Kevin just because it's the cliche of he had access to everything. He could see where everyone was and could have waited for a specific moment. Boosh. It was Kevin. The IT guy? We know he's, emotionally blackmailed to be here and he's in a lot of debt, so it could be revenge. But how did he do it? He poisoned Mr. Orton's cognac, most likely. He wanted it to look like someone from the outside had poisoned it before it even arrived at the house. So he picked something up that Mr. Orton would lock up in the office. How do you get in the office? I thought no one was allowed in. That may be true for Sophia and Liam, but Kevin controls all security in their house. Boosh! Not quite what I said, but alright. I bet he has a master code that can open any door. Is that true? Yes, he's never used the master code, but it does exist. So he had means and an opportunity. What about a motive? For fun? Accident? How could you do that by accident? Oh, sorry, sir. I was just putting a little water into the cognac because I don't want to see you that drunk. He did it for revenge, for fuck's sake. Revenge? For what? I hold up the papers I found in the security room. Destroying his family's business, of course. I found these in the security room. I hand the papers to Detective Gursky and he rifles through them, scanning each page briefly with his eyes. So that's why Kevin has them. What am I looking at? Proof of ownership. Mr. Orton owned quite a few loan agencies under assumed names. He gave out student loans to families like Kevin's and changed the interest rate without warning, putting them in more debt than they could handle. The debt that he supposedly rescued Kevin's family from was one that he created himself. So Kevin would bear a grudge against Mr. Orton for cheating his family and using him. That's a good enough motive for me, and he's the only person with the means to do it. Boosh! Oh, did we just get it right twice in a row? 2 games in a row, we found a killer. Sophia found this in the incinerator. We think he carried this poison in a bottle and then he tried to destroy the evidence. Meaning that we'll probably find his fingerprints all over it. A frantic beeping noise interrupts our discussion. What is that? The house is coming out of lockdown. Kevin must be unlocking all the doors. Yeah, because it's bugged. Why didn't we think about that? I groan. Of course, he can see us. I'm holding this stupid murder weapon in my hand. He probably knows we've got him figured out. But Kevin isn't going to leave through the front. We'd never let him past us. Sophia, what other exits are there? Oh god, there's going to be 2 or 3, isn't there? There's an emergency door in the museum. Detective Gursky and Aki exchange horrified glances. Oh dear. That's where Lee May is. Is there any way to lock all the doors down again? Is there? Fuck. There's the panic box upstairs that... Don't explain, just go. Sophia turns and dashes up the stairs while the rest of us race down towards the museum. Detective Gursky grabs the handle on the door and pulls, but the lock by the door beeps stubbornly. He pounds it with his fist. Kevin, we know you're in there. No response. Kevin? Aki glances at Naoki and nods. He nods in return before punching in a string of numbers into the box beside the door. The box rewards us with a friendly beep and a click. Look, Gursky, don't question that. This is quite important. Detective Gursky kicks the doors open and we rush in. Don't move! Ah. Well, we know he is capable of killing. Kevin stands across the room from us, one hand firmly on Lee May's shoulder and the other holding a knife to her throat. That's technically not a throat, is it? Alright, Kevin, it's okay. Detective Gursky holds his hands up for Kevin to see. We're just going to talk. What if I don't want to talk? Kevin shakes his head vehemently. I'm not stupid. No, you're very intelligent. You should know that Sophia's locking the doors and there's nowhere to go. So, why don't you put that knife down and let us talk? Kevin's gaze darts back and forth between us and the exit. I just feel that something bad is going to happen here. You're lying. Aki steps forward slowly, hands held into the air. Kevin, please, just let her go. Kevin's expression softens for a brief moment, but he doesn't release Lee May. This is going to end badly. You think I'm going to give up my only bargaining chip? He presses the tip of his knife on Lee May's neck. A small bead of blood appears when the knife has punctured her skin. It runs down the side of her neck slowly, leaving a single crimson trail on her pale skin. Lee May's body shudders, and her eyes grow dull. In a single fluid motion, she snatches the knife from Kevin's hand and spins around, pushing him to the ground. Alright, it's okay. I had a horrible feeling that something was going to happen to her. Without hesitation, she raises the knife above her head and sinks the blade into his back. Oh! Well, that's just not very nice. Ah! Kevin stares at Lee May with muted disbelief. His entire body begins to shake and he collapses to the ground. Blood pours from his cuts, seeping into his clothes and creeping across the floor, and I find myself unable to do anything. My body is frozen in shock. The world around me is fuzzy. Distant. I see Detective Gursky kneeling beside Kevin. He's shouting something at Naoki, but I can't understand what he's saying. Aki rushes forward and wraps her arms around Lee May. This is the first time I've seen Aki look so frightened. Lee May stares at Kevin's motionless body as if she's never seen him before. The knife in her hand slips from her fingers and falls to the floor with a dull clatter. This can't be happening. There's no way this is happening. I can hear my own heart pounding against my ribcage as blood rushes through my head. That would be why he ran away from his sister's murder, because he couldn't take it. The world is starting to grow even fuzzier. I feel ill. I clutch at my stomach and stumble a few paces back. Kevin is dying, and my Kansei is soaking up every moment of it. I struggle to remain standing, but it's useless. As I fall forward, the world around me turns black. So, I got the ending where I die. Oh, good. Oh, there's got to be a better ending than that. Kevin dies in front of you and you die as well. Oh, God. Well, rather anticlimactic ending. My name's Tenarium. If you've got this far and you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. And if you'd like to see the true ending, well, a link to buy the game is in the description below. You should go and buy it and play it and discover all the secrets and Easter eggs I've missed. Until then, goodbye.